How's it going, Principles of Management students? Mr. Argueta coming to you um, week number 3. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on in our class, our conversation about last week, talk about a little bit about this week, and then what's coming up for week number 4. All right, so last week we had a great conversation. First of all, I graded, of course, week 1, I finished reading the discussions. Please make sure that you are taking advantage of all the points. I know some of you have taken other instructors in the past and maybe gotten used to their style. Mine's is a little different. I understand that. I have a reason to my madness. I will share with you a little bit about that. But I also want you to understand I'm not trying to be a tough professor. That's not my intention. I'm not trying to fail anybody, but there's a certain level of expectation that I have, and that's just what I think should be normal, in regards to what my classes are. So, despite I guess what seems to be a tough policy of not accepting late work, it would make sense next week. So I will explain to you why I do not accept late work next week. So keep in mind about that. That being said, last week we spoke about ethical perspectives. You understood it. The conversations were great. I appreciate the response. Several of you have identified, of course, your ethical perspective that you use a lot of times, but as we discussed, it all depends on scenario, situation, who's involved, what the conditions are, a whole bunch of stuff. That will happen to you in business all the time. In business, there's a lot of gray areas where there's no clear right or wrong. And what determines the decision you make is going to be a lot of times your ethical perspective of that situation and how you make your decisions. And it's important because, of course, we in the last couple of decades saw what can happen when things get thrown into a scenario where things go from gray to illegal and very quickly. Of course, we have, for some of you who are involved in the accounting world and are looking to pursue an accounting degree, you'll run into Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which was because of the Enron crisis that we saw in our financial system, and a lot of ethical issues that occurred during that time. A lot of big names were brought up during that time. A lot of people were essentially doing some pretty shady stuff. So ultimately, we had to create regulations as an industry to sort of control those type of unfortunate situations from happening. That being said, I'm reading through all of those discussions now. I'll be grading those throughout the week. As I've mentioned in previous couple previous weeks, registration is in full effect. My calendar is completely booked, so I've been trying to call students a little ahead to be able to do stuff like this, videos, and interact with you guys, answer any emails. So keep in mind that a lot of you have started this class on a courtesy pass that expires this week. So make sure that you are ready to purchase your access code when that time comes. You don't want to miss out on some of the work that we have due by the end of the week. This week, we're focusing on a couple themes. Week number 3, we have a few things that we're talking about. The basic steps of the planning process in chapter 5, and then chapter 6 really takes a look at why or who becomes an entrepreneur, some of the characteristics, some of the things that entrepreneurs causes of success and failure. So for those of you who have already mentioned you want to start your own business at some point, focus on chapter 6. So remember, Principles of Management, the course is really designed to sort of go on a macro level of business and look at all the different aspects of business. So at one point, we'll be talking about marketing and human resource and accounting and all these different areas of business. So a lot of times students go, I want to go into business. I want to get a business degree. And I'll say, what is it that you want to do in business? And that's where I lose a lot of them. They don't know. And this business principles of management really touches a lot of those areas, so you can kind of go, hey, that sounds really interesting. So I hope that that's how you're viewing this. This isn't specific to a certain area, rather to the whole concept of management in the different areas of business. All right. Last week we talked about strengths and weaknesses in, I think, chapter 4 maybe, or 5 or 3. But this week we do an analysis that I mentioned last week called a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is a tool that's used a lot in business, especially established or getting established businesses. It's looking internally at our strengths and weaknesses, and externally, in the external environment, our opportunities and threats. So I'm going to quickly describe what it is. There's a video that will show you. Please use the format in any style you want, but of a SWOT analysis. Don't just list it in an order. There's an actual format where you do a S, a W, an O, a T. You can find them. So make sure you're using a professional level conversation here, guys. This is not high school. This is not elementary school. We're in a college level course of business. So the expectation is that you will step up to that point. So some of you have done amazing jobs, and I appreciate that. But I'm encouraging everybody to understand that this is not just something you're going to do. So here is why I believe the discussions are so important, okay? Because I feel, as I'm old, but I'm not extremely old, but I feel as if a lot of the information that is given to you in McGraw-Hill is pretty easily accessible. It's not formulas, it's concepts and theories that can be found. But a discussion has to be yours. And let me tell you, if you're using any generated information, I can tell. It alerts me. So I'm going to be looking out for that. I want you to have an educated discussion around a topic, and that's why I read the discussions. A one-sentence discussion will not get a full grade. I'm letting you know that because I want to be fair with you. This is how I can tell you are understanding the material. Everything else, I can see how long you spend on every area of the chapter. I can see that. It's all recorded. It's all information. And some people, they go through it within minutes. So I know there's no possible way that you're educating yourself if it takes you 3 minutes to go through the smart book. I mean, I know, but there's no possible way you're going to be able to speak about a SWOT analysis with an educated tone if you don't know what it is. So this is how I know you know what you're talking about. Because when you graduate at GNCC with a business degree, the last thing I want is to go into industry and they say, we hired one of your graduates and they didn't even know how to do a SWOT analysis. That would be devastating because that would reflect against me and my program. So this is why I am a harsh grader in discussions. So just to confirm, there's 4 opportunities that you're going to have in regards to interaction in a discussion weekly. 1, your original post must be your original post. If there's AI detected or some type of copy paste, you will not be receiving credit for that. Number 2, you're going to reply to my video, the one you're watching now. This is our conversation. This is how we connect. The expectation is laid out. This is how you can tell me, listen, I don't agree with you. I agree with you. That's perfectly fine. This is like if we were in class and we discuss something, right? And number 3, you're going to reply to 2 other students. You're going to interact with 2 other students in your class. Okay? That's why it's extremely important to do these discussions early. Because if you wait till Friday or Saturday, or some of you waiting till Sunday, no one's going to reply. No one's going to reply to your Sunday night discussion. So you're not going to get an opportunity to really interact with people. Okay, so make sure you at least, at minimum, are posting your original discussion as soon as possible. Now, I know some of you, I read some of you are saying, I'd rather listen to your video than do it. I try to get it out as soon as possible, but of course it's a crazy time right now, so I'm trying to fit everything in a schedulely appropriate time. So I know this sounds a little tough and harsh, but trust me, guys, that's not the intention. I want to make sure I am delivering an effective and a worthwhile education, and I hope that you're understanding that. I'm not going to accept discussions with one sentence replies, one sentence comments. That's not going to fly. So please make sure you are focused. Understand your discussion is 30% of your overall grade. Like, you can miss a quiz. It's not going to impact you as much as a discussion will, because there's 14 quizzes, but there's only 6 discussions. So each discussion is going to lower your grade by 5 total points percentage-wise. Where one quiz or one Learn Smart, it's only going to lower your grade by not even a percentage. So your discussions are critical. I can't say that enough. Anyhow, enough of this lecturing garbage. So just want to be on the same page. I want to make sure you understand. But other than that, I had a great cup of coffee. Let me introduce you to my cup. This is my favorite cup of coffee, or my favorite cup to drink coffee in. It's called an, let's see if I get the right lighting. There you go. It's called an Ember. It's red right now because it needs to be charged, but it is an app with a cup that keeps my coffee at a very specific temperature. I think my temperature is 145 degrees, something in that area. I'm opening up the app. I'm not doing anything that doesn't relate to our class yet. Ember. So Ember will, let's see if it works for me here while we're talking. Ember basically will keep the cup at a certain degree during the time So right now, of course, it's off, but it's showing that the cup is at 72 degrees. But I can, of course, move that over to whatever. I think I have mine's all the way to the top at 145. I enjoy my coffee where it's so hot that it kind of burns my mouth. I know, it sounds crazy, but that's just me. Either way, I had a cup of coffee not too long ago. It wasn't an espresso, but this one's a Bode, a Pacific Bode. This is from Costco. It is the same company that makes Starbucks Pike. So it's the Pike coffee, but it's cheaper if you buy the Costco brand version of it. But it's Starbucks makes it for them. Costco has a lot of stuff like that where it's made by the actual manufacturer that has the name brand, and they make their private label for them. So that's about it. The only other thing I want to show you that I just got new here, let's see if I can pick it up, is I got a little plant. Look at that. A little plant in my office now. So that's new. My wife thought that would brighten up my office, and we just brought that in this week. It's been cold in the mornings, hot in the day, cold at night. So you're kind of going from sweater to, short sleeve shirts and so on. But everything's going well. I hope everything's going well for you. I hope you're registered. It's been crazy. Registration's been off the charts. So make sure you're getting into the classes you want to get into, guys. I think that's it. Next week, let's look at that for a quick second, is the midterm. The midterm is 40 questions that you've already seen. You know them. You should probably have a record of them. That'd probably be a smart idea. But it's 40 minutes, 40 questions. It should go quick. So please make sure you are on top of that. Okay? Next week, we will not have a discussion because it's too much. Midterm plus 2 chapters and then discussion. So I won't do a discussion. I will post a video just wishing you luck, explaining more about the midterm, and explaining why I don't accept late work. So make sure you keep an eye out, but you won't have to reply. You will not be graded for next week's discussion. All right, that's about it, guys. Have a wonderful week. We will talk soon. Take care.